progress during your presidency. We'd now like to hear from the President of Sierra Leone, His Excellency Mr. Julius Maada Bio. Your Excellency, we invite you to the lectern for your distinguished remarks.
Your Excellency, the President of the General Assembly, Mr. Dennis Francis, Your Excellency, Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Your Highness Shaka Musa Ben Nessa, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here today to particularly highlight the importance of protecting education from attack and the need to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. But I want to start by expressing my gratitude to the State of Qatar, the Education Above All Foundation, UNESCO, UNICEF, for organizing this forum and for the important invitation extended to me to lay out a national leader's perspective, highlighting the important steps we have taken in Sierra Leone and internationally to shield education from attack and holistically transform education. The right to education is priceless, so it must be protected at all costs. Championing the right to education for every child in Sierra Leone and in the world is not mere political rhetoric or something that will go out of style for me. My dear late mother, Yeami, gave me the right to education, though she was a widow at a very early age and did not have the opportunity to go to school. She somehow appreciated the value of education and sacrificed her all to put me through school. That is how I got to where I am today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this illiterate woman gave me or made me who I am today. I stand here today championing universal access to quality education because I can testify to the power of giving the right to be educated against all odds. Therefore, it is a lifelong commitment to champion causes that ensure every child can unlock their God-given potential through education. I believe in the power of education as a transformative tool that could shape a nation's destiny and fortunes for good. Education transforms minds, provides knowledge, and lays a solid foundation for skilled workforce and a vibrant economy. I was therefore deliberate and audacious when I launched the Free Quality Education Program in 2018 under my government's flagship human capital development agenda during my first term in office. My government's annual budgetary allocation to education sector is 22%, one of the highest in the world. Our free quality education program has created greater access, quality, and equity for more than 2 million children by removing financial barriers to school enrollment and improving teaching and learning outcomes. Our focus on human capital development was to reverse the downward trend of our education system caused by 11 years of civil war in the 1990s. Even though I became president 16 years after the war was declared over, our education system was still in desperate straits from the destruction of the infrastructure, the existing inequalities, the depth of misconduct, and the scope of the disruption to the system. Owing to the Civil War, from 1991 to 2002, hundreds of thousands of children were kept out of school. School and tertiary institutions were destroyed. Teachers were displaced in some parts of the country, and schools did not function for years. The effects were dire, with an adverse impact on human resource development to service the economy, to promote economic growth and national development. It worsened gender inequality and increased gender and sexual offenses. Our experience reflected some of the devastating consequences of the conflict-related attacks on education, where children are recruited into warring factions as child soldiers, and the girls were regrettably sexually abused and exploited, affecting the future of entire generations. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the urgency to protect education from attack is now. Over the last 3 years, reports reveal that more than 9,000 learners and teachers were harmed, injured, or killed in attacks on educational facilities during armed conflicts. Between 2020 and 21, more than 5,000 attacks were on educational facilities, students, and teachers. Such attacks continue to rise year after year in different places across the globe. Some of the attacks on education are policy-based, with equal devastating impact, particularly on girl learners. In Sierra Leone, girls suffered the double victimization of dealing with teenage pregnancy, often due to sexual abuse and a ban on visibly pregnant girls from attending school. In March 2020, I announced that the government of Sierra Leone had lifted the ban prohibiting pregnant girls from attending school and committed my government to the policy of radical inclusion to ensure that no child is left out of the education system. Today, that is history. My government also addressed the issue of comprehensive safety of all children in the education sector, initiating several interventions to support girls' education, such as re-entry policy and the multi-sectorial task force to discuss the challenges girls face periodically. Due to our deliberate policy interventions, we have achieved gender parity at the basic education level, registered high achievement and learning outcomes for girls in secondary school, and guaranteed tuition, free education from primary school to university for all girls studying STEM disciplines in Sierra Leone. I have been vindicated. The girls are leading in all transition exams in Sierra Leone. My government's interventions were mainly guided by data and policy research to transform education and address restrictive policies and actions. These were, in essence, to protect education from attack. The work on universal access to quality education is continuous. So human capital development is still one of my key priorities for national development. We have made inroads with free access to education. In my next 5 years, we will focus on the quality of education young people receive to equip them for the 21st century, fit for purpose education. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, education is a fundamental human right and critical to achieving sustainable development and social progress. Therefore, children everywhere should have access to education. And in the context of protecting education, children should go to school without fear or hindrance. Every child must have access to quality and inclusive education everywhere in the world. I therefore commend the state of Qatar for its leadership in unanimously adopting the General Assembly resolution proclaiming September 9 as the International Day to Protect Education from Attack on May 28, 2020. In addition to raising awareness of the plight of millions of children who face the adverse effects of attack on education, as leaders of government, the resolution is clear on what we must do to discharge the primary responsibility to provide protection and ensure inclusive and equitable quality education at all levels to all learners, especially in vulnerable situations. We must intensify our efforts, increase funding to promote safe and protective school environments, particularly in humanitarian emergencies. One vital instrument to facilitate safe and inclusive learning is the Safe Schools Declaration, with its commitment and concrete steps to protect education from attack. To achieve the objectives of the Transforming Education Summit, and invariably SDG 4, we must raise our voices against those perpetrating attacks against school children, educational infrastructure, and teaching and learning generally. As a strong advocate of education and as co-chair of SDG 4 High-Level Steering Committee, I raise my voice today to make a clarion call for us all to galvanize our actions to ensure that the 244 million children and youths worldwide who are out of school have access to quality education. I hope my voice is heard. Today, as we commemorate the International Day to Protect Education from Attack, I call on all member states of the United Nations who have not yet done so to endorse the Safe School Declaration and respect its provisions. Parties in conflict situations must also submit to respecting the provisions of the Safe Schools Declaration. As the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We are all in this together. Our actions must be universal, inclusive, and equitable. Let us go far together to build a safe world for children worldwide to access quality education and become productive citizens. This is a sure path to alleviating global poverty and building a sustainable future for humanity. Together, let us protect education from attack. Thank you.
I thank I thank the President of Sierra Leone for his inspiring remarks. Your voice is heard.